Last October, my husband came home from a men's retreat, looked at me and said, "I'm quitting my job." The problem was, we weren't financially ready. We didn't have a backup plan. We had 4 little boys, we had bills, and we had absolutely no idea how God was going to provide. But the crazy part is, we both had so much peace. I've wanted to tell this story for a while now, but I wanted enough time to pass so we could honestly look back and say, here's what God has done. We're not sharing this because we've arrived. We're sharing it because we're still living it. I'm going to tell you my side of the story first, and then I'm going to let Jacob tell you his. So if my voice suddenly changes and gets deeper halfway through, that's why. If you've been here for a while, you know that Field of Boaz, this whole YouTube channel, this whole ministry, wasn't my idea. Honestly, it wasn't something I ever planned on doing. God led us here step by step, and looking back, I can see his hand in all of it, and it's beautiful. For years, Jacob and I had prayed that somehow our lives would be centered around serving the Lord full time. We looked into camps. We looked into him becoming like a full-time worship pastor. We dreamed about different ways we could spend our lives serving Jesus. And at the same time, Jacob genuinely loved being a firefighter. He was good at it. God gave him this incredible ability to stay calm in the middle of chaos and bring peace into some of the hardest moments of people's lives. But over time, we both started feeling like God was preparing us for something different. We just didn't know what. When God started growing this ministry, I never imagined it could be something that supported our family. And when God called Jacob to quit his job, this ministry wasn't replacing his income. And honestly, it still isn't. So from a worldly perspective, it honestly looked irresponsible. But there was one thing that we couldn't explain: the peace. The peace we both had could have only come from the Lord. And the way he confirmed it over and over again still amazes me. So I'll let Jacob tell you his side of the story.
Hey everyone, I'm new here. My name is Jacob. And if you're interested in slow and intentional living, this is the place to go. I'm just kidding, sorry, that's what Leah normally says on her intro. But anyways, like Leah said, I am no longer a firefighter. I retired from the fire service after a little over 13 years in. Now I know what you're thinking. How does someone retire after only being in the service for 13 years? Before we get too far, I'd like to clarify, I'm not drawing a pension. I purely just ended my career as a firefighter. I learned so much during those years. God used that job to grow me in ways I don't think anything else could have. I truly loved being a firefighter. But for several months before I left, both Leah and I had this feeling that God was preparing us for something different. We couldn't explain it. We just knew something was changing. One day, Leah looked at me and said, "I think it's going to happen when we're not ready." And less than a week later, one of our close friends said almost those exact same words to me. Around that time, I reconnected with an old friend from my childhood. He invited me to a men's retreat. Right before I left, Leah said, "I'm praying God gives you answers this weekend." The retreat was 3 days with no phone, no distractions. I got on the bus, not knowing anyone, and I prayed, "God, please give me answers to the questions I have." Then I felt like I heard God say, "I'm going to give you answers to the questions you don't even know you had." Throughout that weekend, God spoke to me over and over again. Through the teaching, through the conversations with other men, through scripture, through testimonies, it became so clear. God was asking me to leave the fire department. I had no idea what came next. I had no backup plan. Honestly, I figured I'd come home and pick up odd jobs until God showed us exactly what he wanted us to do. When I first saw Leah after the retreat, I couldn't wait to tell her. The boys were emotional, even though I'd only been gone for a few days. But it was the first time in their lives that I'd been gone that long without being able to at least call them to say goodnight. I told them it was okay and that things were going to be different. Leah saw the look in my eyes. I believe her words were, "Oh no." Now, me being the smart husband that I am, I know I couldn't just drop the news on her right there and then. So I told her, "No, it's good. I just can't say it right now, because that's a lot better." She picked up her phone and showed it to me. What I didn't know is that while I was gone, disconnected from the outside world, one of our YouTube videos had taken off. We had gained over 3,000 subscribers in just a couple of days. I immediately told her, "Babe, I'm quitting my job." Now please understand, that jump in subscribers wasn't a reason to quit my career, not even close. But it was just another confirmation that God already knew what he was doing before we did. After the retreat, I had to go straight back to the fire station. That night while I was gone, Leah prayed.
I remember praying, "God, I don't want to be like Gideon and ask for signs, but if this is really you, would you just make it so incredibly obvious?" I asked him even if he could give me a dream or anything. And the next morning, nothing. No dream. So I thought, okay, I'm just going to trust what Jacob heard.
Meanwhile, I was getting off shift at 6 a.m. that morning when I received a text from a dear family friend who I've called Aunt my whole life. Her text to me said, "I woke up this morning with you on my mind, and I feel like I need to share these verses with you." One of them was John 13:7. "You do not realize now what I am doing, but later you will understand." I immediately called her on my drive home. Now here's what's really amazing. She was a firefighter my whole life until retiring with over 20 years in the service. She was actually the reason I became a firefighter. As we were talking, she said, "I had a dream about you last night." In her dream, I was working alongside Leah in this ministry. She was very specific. I just sat there listening, dumbfounded. See, I hadn't told her anything yet about the retreat, about quitting. That was another confirmation. Leaving the retreat, I felt like if we were going to do this, it needed to be done in faith. If I was going to quit, it needed to be done before anything else took off with the ministry. Otherwise, we would be stepping from one comfortable place to another. It wouldn't be the faith that I've always wanted to know. So, in the mindset of taking that leap, a week later, I sat down with my chief and told him what God was calling me to do. He honored me by understanding that this was the closing of my career like a retirement, and allowed me the time to close the chapter in my life. November 27th, 2025. Thanksgiving Day was my last day in uniform. And my last day to shave, as you could tell from most of our videos since then. If you might not know, you can't grow a beard while in the fire service. Ever since then, we've been living by faith. There are still things we don't know. There are still bills to pay. There are still moments where we don't know exactly how things are going to work. But over and over again, we've watched God provide. Maybe that looks like me picking up side jobs every now and then. Maybe it looks like this ministry continuing to grow. Whatever it looks like, we trust Him. I am so thankful I didn't ignore what He was asking me to do. Now I get to be home with the boys. I get to watch them grow. I get to help raise them into the men of God that they will become. And I get to come alongside Leah in this ministry. Our prayer is simply to be faithful until Jesus comes back.
I do want to make one thing really clear. We are not saying that the fire department wasn't a ministry for Jacob. It absolutely was. Jacob prayed with people. He shared Jesus with people who didn't know if they were going to live. He brought peace into some of the hardest moments families will ever experience. God used him there. just like he uses teachers or stay-at-home moms, nurses, mechanics, business owners, construction workers. Your ministry isn't determined by your job title. It's determined by your obedience. For us, this is simply where God has us right now. Our prayer has never been to build a successful business. It's simply been to be faithful with whatever God has asked us to do. And as this ministry grows, we want every good thing that comes from it to point back to Him. Every good thing we have has come from Him. If there's one thing I hope you take away from our story, it's this. Obedience doesn't always make sense on paper. Sometimes God asks you to take the first step before He shows you the rest of the path. Maybe He's not asking you to quit your job. Maybe He's asking you to forgive someone. Maybe He's asking you to start something. Maybe He's asking you to stay exactly where you are. Whatever He's asking, be obedient because He is faithful. If this story encouraged you and you're honestly just tired of rushing and trying to keep up with the world, if you're looking for practical ways to slow down and spend more intentional time with the Lord, I'll leave links to the Unhurried Life and the Unhurried Letters in the description below. Those are just a couple of the ways God has led us to encourage other believers, and we'd be so honored to have you join us. Thank y'all so much for being here. We'll see you soon.